Hello, the call to order today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. It is currently 1:01 p.m. This is the special convening of the Tornado Recovery Committee. This is our initial committee meeting. And the charge for this meeting, as outlined by the Vice Mayor, is to ensure that those citizens that were impacted in communities that were impacted by the tornado, the efforts for recovery still remain at the forefront as it relates to just everything that's going on in the city. We have various attendees that's part of this meeting. And council members, I would like to recognize you guys first. If y'all could go ahead and just unmute your mics and just if you could recognize yourself accordingly in district number. The floor is yours now.
Hello, this is Council Member Brandon Taylor in District 21.
Jeff Syracuse, District 15.
Hi, this is Councilmember Sean Parker in District 5.
This is Councilmember Aaron Evans in District 12.
And we also have some representative from various agencies too. We have representative from MNPS. If you can go ahead and identify yourself as well.
Yes, this is Mark North from Metro Schools.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have Mr. Bailey on?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Bailey, can you introduce yourself and your organization?
Oh, sure. My name is Greg Bailey, and I'm representing the Long-Term Recovery Group.
Thank you so much for being on the call with us. I want to say thank you so much for being the meeting. I don't like saying call, the meeting. So we're just going to jump right into this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to pivot back to council members. And what I want to do for this initial call is for each district for us to begin to catalog the continuing needs for those that were impacted by the tornado. This allows us to ensure that we are aligning the resources for those respective needs, and so that we can also do some accountability checks as it relates to the funding that's being disseminated to the nonprofits to ensure that your constituents are getting the resources that they actually need. So we'll go ahead and begin with the council members. And I am making note of this also. If you can just begin with your district so we can continue to catalog the needs that still remain as it relates to those impacted by the tornado.
Madam Chair, this is Councilmember Brandon Taylor. One of the things that that is not new, but Councilmember Syracuse and I actually were working together. We've had some issues with private organizations such as AT&T and Comcast and a few other getting the services back in a timely manner. I've been working with AT&T and a few cases that we've worked on together have been secured, but not sure and haven't received any messaging to see if everyone is back up and running or not. One of the things that we're facing now is, and I'm leading everyone to the organizations that have received funds from the Community Foundation. But one of the things that we're seeing here in District 21, specifically the North Nashville area, are needs for individuals with higher deductible rates. And then, of course, I think we've all mentioned this, but rental assistance and finding homes for renters, that's still homes that were destroyed in the fire, not the fire, the tornado. There are some renters that are still displaced and needing some homes at the moment.
Thank you so much, Councilman Taylor. And we do have contacts, the regional VPs for both AT&T and Comcast. So we will send that up the pipeline just to make sure that, again, those needs are being met. Councilman Syracuse, I know we're a little bit out of district order, but Councilman Syracuse, and then we'll go back to the other council members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we're talking here real quick, I see there's somebody in the attendee list, and what Slate told me to do when I was host for a second there was go in there and actually add them into the attendee list. I don't know if you have to do that. I don't know if it's a council member calling in or something like that.
So that's a call in, and then the other is Metro, is the network.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. All right. Well, I concur with Councilmember Taylor. It would be great to receive an update from the utilities, specifically AT&T and Comcast, as far as their continued efforts to get everybody back up and running, especially as everybody's working from home. I don't really have a regular update. I haven't heard from folks in my area that are still out at this point. I think there are, but it would be good to get an update there. Obviously, I think NES is good to go, mostly for those that can accept power and whatnot. I believe everybody is up and running in that regard. That's all I've got at this point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Frotem. Now we, Councilman Parker, District 5.
Thank you, Chair. So, we were thankful in my district that we didn't have as much damage as some other districts did, but we did have considerable damage. And one thing that would be helpful, I've heard that Codes has sort of put together a list of parcels that were affected by the storm. And if that could be shared with district council members, that would be helpful for us to make sure that we are proactively checking in with people who maybe haven't reached out yet, or maybe could still use some assistance. And in addition to that, there's a kind of group of neighborhood leaders in East Nashville that has come together, and we're kind of sharing communications and messaging around tornado recovery. And one thing that we're really emphasizing right now is that everyone who was affected needs to sign up with FEMA. That deadline, I believe it's May 4th that closes. And I think it would be really helpful if, I think it's possible for that messaging to kind of get lost with all of the COVID-19 stuff happening. So anything the city can do to remind folks who were affected by the tornado of the May 4th, I hope I'm right in saying that over and over again, the May 4th FEMA deadline, anything we can do to help remind people of that and make sure that people are getting registered, making sure that people understand that, registering with FEMA does not necessarily mean you have to take a loan or do this or that, but it just does get you on track to be able to receive some of that support if it comes. So that's all I've got for now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilman Parker. And Councilwoman Evans, District 12.
Thank you. So a couple things on my end. I think one of the biggest things when we initially met back in March with Vice Mayor Schulman is I had an apartment complex that was hit, and about 200 families were displaced. And so one of the things that I initially thought was going to happen was I'd be able to get a really good scope of how many people were displaced from that complex. And unfortunately, due to privacy concerns, Elmington isn't able to release any of that information. So I'm drilling into how many people are still out there that need support, and having to kind of go through social media channels and everything to be able to drum up interest or business, so to speak, kind of related to this. So I have about 10 residents that I've been in active conversation with, and their issues have really been about kind of the transition piece that Councilman Taylor was speaking to, as far as finding new homes and some of that rental assistance for their transition. I've encountered some residents that have some issues related to either a background check or financial issues that would prevent them from qualifying for a new apartment in some cases, and then of course also finding something that's attainable for their income levels. In addition, I'm also finding we're starting to transition between the people that were having issues with the tornado are also now being impacted by COVID. And so I'm seeing some COVID job loss with some of these folks, and also unemployment isn't being used as a qualifier for a new place. So I've got families that are ready to move and they have money to be able to do it, but because it's unemployment income, it's preventing them from being able to transition. Let's see. Also, I have kind of with this population of folks, some of the constraints that come from people who are could go back to work and maybe haven't been back to work since the tornado. That MNPS, of course, school being out now is adding a layer of complexity as well. So we're just starting to see that intersection across the tornado and COVID. And as far as some of the other neighborhoods that I have that were impacted by the tornado, we have one neighborhood that has some homeowners that are basically absentee. And so haven't established with some of those folks exactly what their needs are, with the exception of the ones that still have renters that are out there seeking new homes. Because in some cases, property owners didn't have homeowners insurance. And so those lots are starting to come on the market for sale in those neighborhoods. But the issue is, in many cases, these are people that are out of town, and so they have not taken the steps to start to put fences up around those properties as part of that sale process, or they have not been responsive. And so, for instance, in one case, I have one of my locations, the location's turned into a dump site. And I know that that was an issue in another council person's district as well. But basically, everybody has started to bring their construction debris onto a private property's lot. And so now that's starting, of course, is turned into codes, and it's going to take a bit of time before we can get that cleaned up. But that's kind of an issue that I'm facing that's really more of the combination of the homeowner and the city about how we can get that handled. In addition, I'm finding we've got residents that I've been speaking to who also applied for FEMA relief, but they're starting to be declined for property damage, specifically because FEMA has been taking a very strict kind of interpretation of, I guess, of their rules related to property damage. And if it wasn't specifically damaged in the tornado, residents are getting declined. So for instance, kind of going back to my apartment complex example, those residents may have had damage from the hundreds of volunteers that were trying to help them move, since everybody had to move within a very tight timeline. So if they had something that was damaged as a result of a volunteer, it can't qualify for any FEMA support. And so the greatest resource in our area has been the Donaldson Fellowship in Councilman Syracuse's district. And so every time that I have contacted them for something, they have been very helpful and responsive at trying to support some of these very specific needs that I have. I do have one gentleman who has in a neighborhood who found a new place to live in the same neighborhood. He's a quadriplegic, and it looks like he's going to need a chair lift because the property will not support a wheelchair ramp. And so that's kind of an immediate need that we're waiting to see if the VA will help. But that's kind of a very specific, unusual need that I'm finding with somebody that was impacted by the tornado. And with that, I will conclude.
It's great I'm a veteran and have some contacts. You say he needs a wheelchair ramp for his property?
Well, he can't do the wheelchair ramp because we can't, because it's a duplex and he cannot have, basically the size of the property will not support it being built to code. And so now he's going down the path with the VA, and his VA doctor has ordered a wheelchair lift. And so he's waiting to find out, will the wheelchair lift be approved by the VA? And then I have let the Donaldson Fellowship know, hey, I might need some support either with finding a lift that's, maybe somebody can sell it at cost. How can we raise the money, since they're expensive? So that's where we are with him.
Okay, so we'll get his information after the meeting.
Okay, great.
Also want to acknowledge, looks like Vice Mayor Schulman has also joined the meeting. Welcome, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for having the meeting. I can't stay on for too long, but wanted to see how everybody was doing. So I'm very, very appreciative that you all are doing this. Thanks.
Okay, so now we're going to pivot to Mr. Greg Bailey and Mr. Mark North. Mr. Bailey, if you can tell us what your organization has been doing and kind of give us an update to see if council members can also utilize some of these resources that and efforts that you've been providing for our tornado recovery.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks very much. I'm working with the long-term recovery group, and the SIMP is outlined in a memorandum of understanding with Metro. There are probably 30 to 40 nonprofit organizations involved in our long-term recovery programming. UMCOR, the United Methodists Disaster Group, is going to be running the case work and case management piece. That should start very soon. They are hiring caseworkers today. All the other organizations in town who have been working with individuals will pour their data in with UMCOR's data so that anyone who's applied for FEMA, for example, at some point will be assigned a caseworker who, per Council Member Evans's point, might have been denied by FEMA. They can appeal and see if they can work through those issues. We have volunteer base, Hands-On Nashville will be running the volunteer services. This group will be active for the next 12 to 18 months in terms of helping folks find relief, help them recover, get with Westminster Home Connection, which is going to be running the construction side, and work on construction projects for their homes. I believe, can't remember who mentioned that they still had people who were displaced. Urban Housing Solutions, I'll just give you a quick phone number, 615-726-2696. Works in terms of helping people find housing. Now they have some rules and regulations and an application you have to fill out, but I know as of yesterday, they did have a handful of apartments available for people who qualify. So we're Second Harvest is working with us on food. We've got Project Connect that's done a lot of work in North Nashville on feeding people. And this group will be together again for the next 12 to 18 months, helping people recover, rebuild, and get straight. So that's kind of where we are. We meet weekly. Obviously now we're doing like this. We're meeting via Zoom and share information. But we've got everybody from the Community Foundation to Gideon's Army, Goodwill, Habitat for Humanity, the Red Cross, Catholic Charities, and as well as the Office of the Mayor and Metro Social Services are on our team. So we're getting ready to, UMCOR is getting ready to announce the process for individuals to contact them for case work and that's coming within the week. So we are moving forward, and really would love to work with this committee going forward on, as you identify needs that these folks can help with, that we can put your constituents in touch with the right people. But that's going to be core for casework once we get up off the ground.
And you said that'll be within the next week?
Yes, ma'am. According, they're in the process. What they do is they hire part-time case workers to go out and, well, in this case, probably intake phone calls, because you can't go out and, right now meet with people. But they're hiring this week. They're training this week and should be ready to go at some point next week, we hope. And we'll be very active in a PR mode and trying to get out the phone number people call and how they work in terms of obtaining a caseworker.
Okay. Looks like we have Councilman O'Connell that has joined the meeting also. Are there any questions for Mr. Bailey?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do have a question.
Okay.
I have a couple. Thanks. Greg, thanks for joining us today. I guess one is a bigger, broader, clarifying question. So can you explain a little bit more about what this long-term recovery group is? Is that established in the MOU, and where can we get some more information about that memorandum?
It's called the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan or Program. It's in an MOU with Metro. It was developed, at the time of the flood, I believe. And there's a handful of organizations. My colleague, Rebecca Finley, is on the phone, and she may have a better background on that than I do, Freddie. Okay. But the organizations are pretty much established by this memorandum of understanding.
Okay. I don't know who would be the best person here, but maybe, Madam Chair, you could work with Greg or possibly Rebecca. I think it would be helpful for council to have a chance to at least review that memorandum of understanding. And then, Greg, another thing this is just me catching up on sort of the jargon and acronyms. What is UMCOR?
It's the United Methodist. Hold on one second. I can try to.
I'll answer it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's Rebecca. It's the United Methodist Committee on Relief. And the UMCOR, I worked at the Community Foundation during the flood and led much of disaster response beyond that of the flood for the organization. But that's my experience. I'm no longer with that organization, but I'm working as a consultant on this project. They were instrumental in long-term case management for the flood, and funded by the Community Foundation and others, United Way and others. And they are stepping up once again to help us with that.
Got it. Okay. And then as far as the Community Foundation's role itself, this is me just not having an understanding of how the public and private partnerships work. For people who, are individual donors, like small donors, I know, for instance, we have nearby the COVID-19 Response Fund. Obviously, that one is a partnership established with United Way. But for the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee's specific tornado relief or disaster relief fund, is the expectation that 100% of those donations then get distributed into the community, or is there an administrative percentage that's retained by CFMT? How does that process work?
I can't speak officially on behalf of the organization, but I know the answer to this question. The Community Foundation does not charge an administrative fee for their disaster response funds.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connell. Any more questions for Mr. Bailey? I know it's a lot of information for the initial call, but again, just initially, we want to make sure that we know how the process works, and that we catalog what the needs are, so then we can make sure that those resources are being aligned with the needs for those that's still being impacted by the tornado, as I alluded to earlier. So, Mr. Mark North, can you provide us an update as it relates to schools? I know we have the announcement that schools will be closed for the remainder of the year, and if there's any specific efforts and resources that council members can utilize for those families impacted by the tornado.
Yes, ma'am. Update on several things. As you remember, we had 3 buildings that were damaged, 3 Metro Schools buildings damaged in the tornado. Laughlin Elementary had some roof damage. It was repaired soon after the tornado. 2 that had more extensive damage, Robert Churchwell Elementary and Meigs Middle School. The repairs are to the point where there was some emergency repairs done to make them watertight, I guess, and plans are moving forward, and the repairs are moving forward, and we expect for them to be repaired completely by the end of July, when teachers are scheduled to return. Of course, as we know, there are things outside all of our control sometimes that change plans, but that is certainly the plan now. As you also may remember, students from Robert Churchwell Elementary School were, after the tornado, were attending school at Park Avenue Elementary, and students at Meigs were attending school at Graymar Middle School building. That only lasted a few days and before the COVID emergency required schools to close, and now are closed. The school buildings are closed for the rest of the school year. We are partnering, really. Allison MacArthur is spearheading some of the food situation, working with Second Harvest to have locations all over the county, because now this has some of what started as tornado relief and recovery has expanded. Sort of emergencies are piling on. But there is, we are participating in that, providing that food, as well as school meals, breakfast and lunches at locations around the county. If in listening to the updates from the council members, if there are, of course we are, our teachers and counselors, social workers, et cetera, are reaching out to families and to their students. And if there are families in your district that you're aware of that have been hard to reach because of the tornado or other reasons, and are, please let me know so that we can get with them and provide the various resources that the school system is working with families to provide. If you have any questions, let me know. If you need anything that the schools can provide, please contact me.
Mark, would you be able to assist Councilwoman Evans, and I don't know how many school-age children resided at the apartment complex, but if she was able to provide you the address for that apartment complex, and with respect to privacy, would y'all be able to connect so that she can make sure that those families, I'm sorry, those families aren't being left behind? She's run into a challenge with dealing with the management with the apartment complex, and rightly so. We understand that. But would it be a way that y'all can partner with her to make sure that she's definitely connecting those families with the resources that they may need?
Absolutely. We'll work with Councilwoman Evans in every way we can to help those families.
Thank you so much. I knew you could, because I recall when I had a hotel close, we worked very closely with the schools because those families were displaced from a hotel. So thank you so much with that for being an additional resource. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to, I just want to take a second to thank Mark personally, and again, encourage people to use him in Metro Schools as a resource right now. We had Andrew Jackson Courts in particular has now twice back-to-back as one of the MDHA communities I represent, had some real challenges with food security. First in the wake of the tornado where there wasn't damage, but they had a sustained power outage there. So people were losing refrigerated food. We worked really well with MDHA to recover from that, but they were pretty far removed in a community that has lower than average reliable access to cars and other things to get over to Buena Vista, which is right adjacent to Cheatham Place. And Mark worked with me to create a bus stop delivery over there. And I've heard from multiple residents in Andrew Jackson Courts that has worked out very well. So Mark personally and Metro Schools as an organization have done a considerable amount here to go. And I think it's worth recognizing that our school district does so much more than just, provide a learning environment for students. I mean, it really is an incredible operation. So.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connell. And Mr. North, I would also like to add one more thing here, just reviewing my notes. Councilman Parker made a very valid point as it relates to communicating respective deadlines with outside agencies, specifically FEMA that he spoke to with the upcoming May 4th deadline. We don't know if that's going to be extended or not because it's beyond our control, but the current deadline is May 4th. Is MNPS able to also to push that messaging out to families as it relates to those that may need FEMA assistance as well?
I think so. I think we can help with that communication to families that were affected by the tornado to be sure that that they know to meet that deadline. Just get that information. If you can get that information to me, I'll work with our communications office.
I'm sending it to you right now.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to make sure, just to recap here, in our next meeting, while we have everyone on the call, does next Thursday, the same time, work for you guys and gals?
That's fine for me.
Okay. Next week, between today and next week, we'll have those utility updates as it relates to AT&T and Comcast. You will also receive in advance the nonprofits that the Community Foundation has distributed funds to, and also what those specific needs were. Our task force, we're going to have somewhat of a narrow view, understanding that, we are in the middle of COVID, but we just want to make sure that these families that's pursuing community resources are being serviced by those respective agencies. So we want to make sure that no one is falling through the gaps. So before I recap, looks like some council members are seeking to be recognized. We have Councilman Roten and Councilman O'Connell, if you can speak in that order.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I was trying to speak to you were just talking about the narrow scope of this committee. As far as larger, more broad items, as far as public works or business related items, is that going to be within the scope of this committee, or is that something that we need to do outside of this committee?
No, we'll do it within this committee.
Okay, and I guess most of my issues were brought up as far as the constituents that need to be handled. I've got some larger issues as far as Stanford Estates right now. They've already got a lot of insurance money coming back in quickly and tearing down houses and rebuilding, but we've still got a lot of stuff on the road that Public Works has not gotten rid of yet. So that's one of the issues I think that I need to get taken care of rather quickly. I know they were not picking up for a while, so that's something that I need to find out what's going on with. Also, a question I had, and I guess I need to take it up with the mayor's office or with Metro Parks. I had a large area of one of my parks which was destroyed, large stone walls destroyed on the Greenway. We had the same issue happen about a year and a half ago where we had a large storm come through. A lot of things were destroyed. It's my understanding we're insured for this type of damage, yet all that was cleared up was the Greenway, and the trees and the damage seemed to remain for a year and a half and never got cleaned up. And now it's happened again. So I guess that's one of my big issues. Is the insurance money that we get for these storms, is it going back toward these actual areas that are damaged? Or is it just being put into the general fund to be used as the mayor's office sees fit? So that's one of the big questions I have. And I guess my third, that's more of a broader, is what are we doing for businesses that were destroyed, small businesses that were destroyed during the tornado? Now we have COVID. Will they still be receiving funds from the tornado damage? Do we set up a fund for them, or now is it just basically all rolled into COVID and they might not see any relief from the damage from the tornado? So I guess those are my three big issues.
Councilman Roten, I made note of that as it relates to the small businesses. I do know there's various small business funds that small businesses can utilize, but I have not delved into the criteria. So I don't want to misspeak and give you incorrect information, but I did put that down on my list to research for you. And by our next meeting, I'll have those answers for you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And as it relates to your public works, I've already texted Philip to let him know to be expecting a call so we can get that rectified for you also.
They started back today.
I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, Madam Chair. They actually started back today.
Okay.
So my neighbors have been calling that they saw the big black trucks moving through the neighborhoods again. So hopefully they're headed your way, Kevin.
Sounds great, Jeff. Thanks.
Councilman Roten, let us know if it's still not resolved. Okay.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think mine is also kind of a similar accountability question, but maybe more targeted to the community foundation, because I know Greg had sent us out. Maybe, let's see, this was back on April 7th, it looks like, additional grants that went to various organizations. So I think kind of, as Kevin was wondering, right, we've got, Faith Evangelical Lutheran Church, we've got, Goodwill Industries, et cetera. Do we have is there any way to ask a similar question to those grantees of, hey, to make sure that funds distributed in this way are going directly to tornado relief efforts and not, for instance, to Kevin's point, back into their just kind of general operating budget, right? Is that a condition of the awarding of those grants? And do we have an opportunity for any public oversight of that? And generally under the MOU, do we have an opportunity for oversight there? And then I think a related question is, as we look to make grant making opportunities, concerned that this is going to be a long-term effort, I know there's sometimes a tension between the ability for an organization to demonstrate that it can meet certain tests, like that, either it's got a 501c3 or, that it has a clean audit by a reliable, certified accountant or something like that. And then the need to do capacity building. So I'm curious about the efforts of the Community Foundation and or Metro under this MOU to kind of tackle both of those things simultaneously, right? To ensure that newer organizations that maybe have less of a track record, say a Gideon's Army or maybe an Equity Alliance, are able to build capacity to participate in the way that longer standing organizations have, particularly because we have probably most of us in affected districts have really great nonprofits that might not be operating yet at a level where they would possibly even be considered for qualifying for some of these grants. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connell. Those are very valid points. And that's one of the charges, well, the charge of the committee is for us to make sure that those resources are getting to the people that really need them. So the reports that we've been receiving as council members is, for me, and to your point, Councilman O'Connell, is more of surface data, but we need to get that micro data so that we as council members can make sure that our communities are being serviced. Councilman Roden.
Sorry, Tanaka, I just accidentally had it left up there. My apology.
Oh, it's okay. Ms. Finley.
Thank you. I wanted to address Councilman O'Connell's question related to the Community Foundation. I do think it would be good at some point to ask Amy Fair, the vice president of that organization, to join this call to address those specific questions. I can talk a bit about, they do have strong due diligence processes around grant making. And I wanted to also address the data collection and the reporting mechanism that's in place for that, for grant making. And in the past, and I'm just gonna do a really quick little history here and I'll make it very brief. When I was there, we looked at how ProPublica was tracking federal stimulus dollars that were coming into states. And so I looked very closely at how they were tracking that information and applied that similar model for previous disasters so we could really track properly outcomes, whole outcomes from grants being made to nonprofit organizations addressing disaster. It is our hope that we'll be able to build a similar model. We have been in conversations with Metro Social Services and their data analytics department on how we can put together a mechanism that would serve both their needs and our needs. Again, looking at the long-term recovery group as a whole and really being able to track those outcomes and to use that as a lens through which we can learn for future disasters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And Ms. Fair, she will, an invitation will be extended to her for next week's meeting. As it relates to the data, Rebecca, this is just my one of the questions that I have. The modeling of the reports that we have, is that information being reported through the nonprofit to Community Foundation, and then Encore would do something with that as it relates to case management?
Yes, so there are two parts to this. So we'll talk about kind of the repository of information related to need. So we provide Encore and or organizations within the long-term recovery group provide to Encore information on how they are assisting those in need. And so when a caller calls Encore, they'll have consistent information to kind of triage folks to the appropriate resources. The idea around that is coordination. So we want a coordinated response so that really essentially no one falls through those cracks. And so that case workers are working together to serve the needs of their particular areas in Nashville. And so the data collection piece, those nonprofit organizations are required upon receiving the grant to report back on how those funds are used. And so we will take a very deep dive into that. And again, that deep dive will come out looking like data, you know, how many homes were rebuilt, how many volunteers were harnessed, how many, those types of bits of information that really help us look at the whole recovery process.
Okay, and not saying that this will happen. Do we have anything in place that would prevent anyone from double dipping as it relates to services?
And that's why coordination is so important. So a single point of contact will help mitigate that very issue.
Okay, and what's the reporting time frame back to you guys? And I'm just asking, so it'll help us plan as a committee as it relates to accountability.
Sure, I think that's probably a better question for Amy Fair, and if appropriate, I'd like to defer to her for future meetings.
I'll leave that for her.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have Councilman O'Connell seeking recognition. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Rebecca spoke a little bit to something that I'm also curious about, which is sort of the, you know, the goal orientation of these awards, right? I'd be interested to know how, and maybe this is established in the MOU that I haven't yet reviewed, but you know, as we think about it, the biggest issues in the moment for us were the damage, the food insecurity, you know, some of which were at least partially resolved in the wake of the disaster. But the ongoing, the biggest scar for constituents in District 19 has been hundreds of people who are probably permanently displaced, or at least displaced for the foreseeable future, as entire multifamily buildings got damaged. And so, you know, it's almost like a contact tracing effort in some ways, where, you know, the hardest part for me in representing people who are now in some cases probably former constituents has been working with property managers, et cetera. I've had very good success working with Hannah Davis in the mayor's office and with the Barnes Fund on some of the opportunities for those things. But, you know, as of yet, I had, like, this is the first real time I've had an opportunity to express anything about the priorities for District 19. So I'm curious about how the Community Foundation established, you know, community-based goals for the awards that have already been distributed, and kind of were those inputs driven from the community? That's one question. The other thing I would say is, I know I've also referred a lot of people to the Financial Empowerment Center, and I'm curious to know if that as a resource plays into the long-term recovery efforts. Thank you.
Great questions, Councilman O'Connell. I've made note of that too for Ms. Fair. And what I'm going to do is also so she can have these questions in advance. I'll go ahead and send these over there to her today as well. Councilman Roden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just needed to jump off for a call I've got at 2 o'clock, but I just wanted to thank you and the Vice Mayor for putting this together, and I look forward to meeting with you guys next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Councilman Roden. Next week, same time, same day. Okay, Ms. Finley, were you still seeking to be recognized? Okay, I'll take that as a no. We also have Ms. Buggs here. This is at the meeting also from the mayor's office as well. So I want to make.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. My speaker would not unmute itself, so I apologize. No, I didn't mean to have my hand up. Apologies.
It's okay. This is our new norm for meeting now, so it's definitely an adjustment.
Indeed.
Okay, so I want to let everyone know we will have another meeting next week, next Thursday, 1 o'clock. As we continue to make sure that none of our neighbors are forgotten. And I do have some notes here, and I just want to make sure that I'm gonna recap for the council members. We're gonna make sure by our next meeting that we get that updates, the updates from AT&T and Comcast. I believe I heard that we're good on NES. If someone could verbally state if that's the case or not, then I won't ask NES. Councilman Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just received an email from Kathy Sager with AT&T stating that in the North Nashville area that all AT&T customers are back online.
I'm sorry, Councilman Taylor, what did you say?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I said in the midst of your conversation, I just received an email from Kathy Sager with AT&T stating that all AT&T customers are back online at the moment in North Nashville.
So we don't need to follow up? Oh, okay. What about for the other areas?
I'm going to ask her now. Is there any areas, colleagues, that you would like me to ask directly?
I believe Councilman Syracuse, I don't know if that was an issue for his area also.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be great just to get an update in the same way that NES was providing us regular updates about specific areas. Thanks.
Daily, weekly, definitely. Yeah, so yeah. I'll add you to this email when I follow up with Ms. Sager.
Okay, and for priorities, what I was hearing, that overwhelmingly that remains a need for many of your constituents is rental assistance. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
It's definitely a yes.
Yes.
And frankly, any kind of affordable housing assistance for people who, we had an entire LIHTC building that got condemned.
Okay, so in preparation with having the foundation on the call next week, we want them to be able to, if they haven't already, to identify agencies beyond the urban housing solutions that can help us meet the needs of those that's still displaced. Also, and many of you know how I chair a committee. I'm just always just very upfront. We'll get with Vice Mayor to see, just to do some brainstorming. Councilwoman Evans brought up some very, very, very great points for us to tackle, but are barriers for the people that we're trying to assist. One of the reasons for this task force. And I made notes as it relates to issues with background checks, some issues with the financial checks. And I made a note whether, if some landlords would be willing to forego initial deposits and last deposits. And I also made a note here as it relates to absentee landlords. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna wrap it up. I just want to make sure that I have my tickler to do so that next week when we convene again, we are further along. And I believe Councilman O'Connell wanted the MOU, so I'll make sure we get that and get that disseminated to you as well, so we can review the language in that, being that it was set up, I believe 10 years ago. I believe that's it. Council members, did I miss anything in the recap? And of course, I have here the concerns that Councilman Roten and O'Connell as it relates to the insurance money. How is that, where is that being funneled, the general fund and so forth, and the small businesses as well. Any feedback? Everyone's quiet. Either I did an amazing job or I did a terrible job.
This is great. Thank you very much for spearheading this.
Thank you.
And thanks for everyone for participating today.
Thank y'all. We will have we'll convene our second meeting next week. We will have the foundation on there as well. And also we'll get some information to you council members as it relates to the process, because there's a lot of pieces that goes with this. And I want to thank MNPS for being just awesome in everything that you guys do for us. So if there's no more questions, I guess, do we still need a motion to adjourn?
Technically, I'll make the motion to adjourn. So.
Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn, and y'all be safe and just continue to serve your districts, but also serve yourself and your families as well too. So be safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all.
All right, bye-bye.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.net.